everyone, today we are going to discuss a Sūtra, Buddhist scripture. The name of it might sound a bit controversial at first, but the principles within are profoundly deep. Most importantly, it is actually relevant to every one of us, offering a practical path for transformation that we can truly follow. Before we begin, I want to specifically state that the content we are sharing today comes from the Dharma talks, provided by a master from the Australian Tong Xing Association. We will do our best to maintain the master's original intent and share the core principles with you. The Sūtra, 佛说转, 女生经. I know. As soon as you hear the name, many questions probably pop up. Transforming the female body, what does that mean? Does it sound like it's specifically for women? Yes, that's the first question everyone has. Right, is this Sūtra truly only a Dharma talk for women? The master's explanation immediately breaks down this preconception. He asks a more essential question. Do you want to transform your current karma? Wow, that question cuts right to the heart of the matter. The master says if you do, then the method in this Sūtra is prepared for you. You see, this completely changes the scope, doesn't it? It's not about gender. It's about the karmic transformation of every individual. The core principle, a universal teaching. So, this is a universal teaching, how to move from suffering to happiness. How exactly should we understand this? The core of the master's explanation lies here. The female body mentioned in the Sūtra does not refer to biological sex. It is a metaphor representing a state filled with suffering, attachment, and afflictions. This female body state signifies ignorance and suffering, where one is bound by karma and reliant on external fantasies for security. Conversely, the male body symbolizes a state of freedom, wisdom, and liberation. This male body state signifies wisdom and happiness, where one is liberated from karma, self-aware, self-sufficient, and at ease. Therefore, the entire Sūtra is discussing a great spiritual transformation, moving from the side of suffering to the side of happiness, the path of transformation. 3 key steps. How do we do this specifically? Let's look at the first method. 1. The 8 ways of relinquishment. The core concept here is to sever our dependence on external factors. There is one classic example in the Sūtra, not relying on one's husband. Literally, this again points towards a woman, right? But the master's interpretation is entirely different. He says the husband here represents any illusion you rely upon. It could be your job, your wealth, your reputation, or even a specific person, anything that makes you feel like you cannot live without it. The master states that as long as you tightly cling to these external illusions, you cannot truly recognize the inherent, complete power within your own essential nature. This is a crucial prerequisite. 2. Transcending the inner storm, the 9 roots of affliction. After severing external dependencies, we must deal with our inner storms, transcending the entanglement of love and hatred. What are these 9 afflictions? The master points them out clearly. They boil down to just 2 words, love and hate. You desperately want to hold on to what you like, and you desperately want to push away what you dislike. Don't all of our troubles stem from this? And what is the root of love and hate? Ignorance or delusion. Because we cannot see the truth clearly, we generate these strong preferences and aversions. The 10 noble practices. The great inner renovation. If the previous steps were about subtraction, relinquishment, and letting go, the next step is about addition. We must actively begin to shape a brand new self, replacing old bad habits with good qualities. The contrast is very clear. The ignoble nature includes traits like arrogance, pride, speaking harshly, lying, and a heart filled with hatred and greed. The noble nature, conversely, is humble, respectful, speaks gently and truthfully, and has a heart of compassion and an understanding of generosity. This entire process is truly a great internal renovation project, step by step transforming our deluded, base nature into a wise, noble nature. Let's take the first one, no self-conceit. The master explains that this requires cultivating a humble mind. Note, a humble mind is not self-abasement. It's an inner humility and gentleness that comes from the heart. All truly accomplished bodhisattvas are incredibly humble because they know that the more arrogant and conceited one is, the tighter the karmic cycle of samsara binds them. Thus, true strength comes from gentleness and humility. Another one, no greed or stinginess. The master uses a fantastic analogy of a farmer that is easy to understand. He says, imagine you are a farmer with a bag of grain. You have two choices. You hoard it, thinking, this is my food. You are stingy and save it all up. As a result, you have food now, but your field is empty. Next season, you have nothing. You treat the grain as seeds and sow them in the field. Your hands are empty for now, but in the fall, you will harvest a whole field full of grain. This analogy is powerful, telling us that true abundance comes from giving and sharing, not from rigidly holding on to things. A stern warning, the foundation of practice. At this point, you might think, aren't these just basic principles for being a good person? Humility, not being greedy, but the master tells us, these are absolutely not electives. They are the foundation of all spiritual practice, the most crucial basis. The master shares a story that is very vivid about Emperor Wu of Liang, who tested two great masters. One was a Chan master famous for his supernatural powers, and the other was his national preceptor. 2. When the emperor had palace maids bathe the two masters, the master, famous for his divine powers, eventually lost concentration and fled using his powers, while the national preceptor remained completely calm and unmoving. This story tells us that if your superficial skills lack the most fundamental wisdom and stable concentration as a foundation, they will immediately crumble when faced with a real test. Therefore, the master gives a very strict warning here. He says that for anyone who has not passed these fundamental practices, whatever Dharma gate they cultivate is child's play and will never succeed. This means that if you cannot even achieve humility, non-greed, and non-hatred, then reciting skras or practicing any specialized method is just playing house. You will not have any true spiritual accomplishment. There is simply no room for negotiation on this matter. So, as we conclude today's discussion, I want to leave you with one question. Having heard this entire process of transformation from the ignoble, lut the noble, which specific habit on yourself are you prepared to start with to truly transform it? That is the most important part, right? To truly apply this Dharma to yourself and turn it into an immediate action.